Welcome back into the Tide Talk podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Stacey Blackwood here with Jake Thomas. Jake, what's up, man?
Man, doing great. I mean, we're less than a week from football. Actually, less than 2 weeks, but yeah, we're right here at football season, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pumped up.
It is so close. And actually,
Mhm.
this Saturday, there's kind of a game of interest for us SEC fans because Hawaii is playing UCLA, and of course, UCLA's second game of the year is going to be against LSU. So
Week 0.
so that's something to watch out for as people start piling in here on the live show. Do want to take care of a couple things real quick. Make sure you head on over to betonline.ag. If you're into sports betting, BetOnline is where you need to go to win money today. Whether it's live bets during the games or futures for who you think will win the championship, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. Visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next big game, head on over to betonline.ag and start playing today. All right, Jake, now that we've done that, one other thing. Make sure you're subscribed. Whether that's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We certainly appreciate that. We got the live show on tonight, so jump in the comments, jump in the live chat, hit us with your questions, your comments, and we will be there to discuss those and answer those. So, Jake, let's just kind of start out. The alliance yesterday was announced between the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the ACC. And all it was is like a gentleman's handshake. It really is a big joke. And all it was is a PR stunt for those other conferences to kind of combat the great PR that the SEC had by adding Oklahoma and Texas. So just your initial thoughts of the alliance, as Dwight Schrute would say.
Yeah, alliance. That's correct. It's like you said, it's a joke. I mean, pretty much like you said, they come to agree to terms, shook hands with each other, and said, "Oh, we agree to play against all of us play against each other in the future." Pretty much. Wow. Well, what's so great about that?
It's a scheduling alliance, is all it is.
Yeah.
And a problem
stupid.
with it is the fact that teams like Alabama and Ohio State have future games scheduled against each other, and those are in contract.
Right.
So if Ohio State wanted to pull out of that, which they're not going to, they would have to pay Alabama a great sum of money. So I don't understand it. It just shows the incompetence of the other commissioners of the conferences. Greg Sankey is, excuse me, just a cut above the rest. I mean, it's just I guess we're fortunate to have him, but we're the best conference. So, the best conference is going to have the best commissioner and the best head coaches. And so it should come to no surprise. I mean, and it all kind of goes back to the way the COVID situation was handled last season. All the other athletic directors just, they jumped ship. They said, "Oh no, we're not having a season." Right. And Greg Sankey's like, "No, we're gonna play it close to the vest. We're gonna, take it one day at a time, see what happens." And the SEC led the way in making a college football season possible last year. So Greg Sankey has done an unbelievable job, and those other commissioners are just, I mean, they're way in over their heads when it comes to leading a conference.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at the Ohio State situation last year. Big Ten, commissioner and all their whole ordeal was you had to play 6 games, to get in the conference game. Well, Ohio State only played 5 up to that point because they've been out. So they was like, "Oh, we got to change the rules so they can get in." Greg Sankey and the SEC set rules, and we went abide by it, and we had a football 10 games of SEC play. While some conferences played 6,
right?
I mean, or 8. I mean, that's incredible what they did and how they handled it. It was amazing. So yeah, Greg Sankey needs to get a lot of credit, even including this year. He said, "No, we're going to play this year as well." We got this new variant going around. There's been a lot of new development come out today, especially at LSU, about they're going to have, you got to have a vaccine to get in to watch watch their games. I believe that's if I
Yeah,
remember
it's either
correctly.
you either have to have you have to either be fully vaccinated,
Mhm.
or you have to have was it a PCR test from
Like
72,
72
within
hours.
the last 72 hours to
Yeah.
be admitted into the game. So,
So
and I expect some other teams to follow suit.
right.
It's just going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. One part of the alliance that cracked me up is, like I mentioned, it's the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12. And in their statement that they had, well, we still think a lot of the Big 12. Well, then why are they not included?
Yeah, for real. I
I
mean,
don't. It's
well, it's not really the Big 12 now. It's like what, the Big 8, Big 10 right now. I mean, who knows?
they're going to be
They're gonna be
their
struggling.
two breadwinners are fisting to be gone, and so I'm not sure what to make of that conference. So the alliance is really just a big joke. I mean,
It
it was a
is.
PR stunt that failed miserably.
Yeah. Well, the way the SEC handled it, bringing in Oklahoma and Texas, was worlds better than how they handled this crap yesterday.
Yeah.
It was awful PR
Hey,
wise.
let me ask you this question. Kind of looking at, of course, now, like I said, Texas and Oklahoma will be joining the SEC, and then you look at this alliance between the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12. Is there a team out of the alliance that you would like to trade for one of the teams that's going to be in the SEC?
That's joining the SEC.
Yeah, that's either in the SEC right now or will be joining the SEC.
I would trade somebody for Auburn any day. Or
Okay.
well, I mean, no, not really.
Hey, no
No.
joke. Think about this. What about Tennessee? Trade Tennessee, because I want to keep Vanderbilt because they help
Right.
in other areas.
Yeah.
But like Tennessee, and plus everybody needs somebody to beat up on once a year. So
They're gonna
but
be like that for a while.
yeah, but Tennessee for somebody like Florida State or North Carolina or a team like that, that would be that would kind of just that was just kind of something that popped in my head. What you thought about that? If you're watching right now, jump in the chat. We'll answer any questions or comments regarding the alliance or fall camp or just whatever, sports in general. Just want to get out this week before the week is over. This week is flying by, so just wanted to get out and talk with everybody. Jake, what's been going on with you this week before we kind of dive into our next subject? How's work been going? What you been up to? And, what are you looking forward to most about this football season?
Work's been going good. Had a really not too stressful week. It's been good. We did best of the West last night. Me, Kevin was back, my co-host. I kind of did hosting duties because he's still not 100% well, and so that was a little different for me because I'm usually the second one to talk instead of the first one, so kind of jump it off and start. It was good though, but I'm just ready to see the team back in action. There's a lot of hype, I guess you can assume, for the team because I mean they've got it. They're going to have to bring their A game because for the team last year went undefeated in an SEC all schedule. And I mean those guys were elite guys, and these next group of guys are wanting to be in that status. So it's time for Bryce Young, which I believe he's going to be a stud. There's no doubt. Brian Robinson, guys, Jase Mcclellan. It's times for guys like that to step up, be leaders, and offensively, like I said, maybe a 2 or 3 games may take a while to get us going, but defensively, barring any kind of injuries, this may be the best defense Saban's ever had, potentially, I think. And like I said last night, I don't know if you watched the show, but I'm now in the understanding yes, we're never going to see defenses dominate, like only give up 7, 8, 9 runs or 9 runs a game.
Points.
Your points. What I'm thinking about baseball. I got the Braves in my mind because they got swept by the Yankees. But anyway, that's another topic. But anyway, but yeah, 7, 8, 9 points a game. But if this team can only give up maybe 16, 17 in that range this year, they're going undefeated and they're going to win the national championship. That's just how I feel about it. So I know we're never going to see the dominating defense, but in this new age of football, this can be a dominating defense.
Yeah, I mean, this defense has all tools and all the pieces necessary to be a dominant defense. They have the guys up front. They have the guys on the second level, and then the back end of the defense, returns 4 of the 5 starters. So just a tremendous amount of talent that is returning to Tuscaloosa. So I'm with you, Jake. I'm excited about the prospects of this defense, and we've talked about it a lot this summer, and it feels like this summer has lasted forever. But here we are, 10 days away from Alabama kicking things off against Miami. So super excited about that. And this team has an opportunity to be a really good football team. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm glad you brought up. You go ahead.
I'm just going to say real quick one other thing, and this is a former alumni from Alabama, but in my mind, Mac Jones ought to be starting week 1 in the NFL.
Oh man!
I mean, have you seen what he is doing right now in practices and in scrimmages and games and stuff?
Yeah,
I was told on a certain app named Twitter by sports analysts that he was not going to be good. Okay.
Well, a lot of people on Twitter have been wrong before.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but Mac has been lighting it up, and today at a joint practice between the Giants and the Patriots, they had a couple different drills. They did some 11-on-11, they did some 7-on-7, but overall for the day, Mac was 35 of 40.
That's incredible.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So I think right now Mac has a great opportunity to take over that starting quarterback job there in New England. So in that first game of the year, it could be Tua and the Dolphins against Mac and the Patriots. That's what I was supposed to say. So Alabama went from not having any starting quarterbacks in the NFL to having 2 facing off in the first game of the season. So just crazy the amount of talent that Alabama has poured into the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget about Jalen Hurts, who's probably going to be the guy. And it was so fun because you hear from Oklahoma fans that we're not allowed to claim him anymore since he went to Oklahoma. He transferred out, but he was wearing an Alabama shirt. At the press conference the other day. Love it. I love Jalen, still do.
Yeah, and he talked about the fourth quarter, what that meant at Alabama and the commitment to excellence and all that, and that stuck with Jalen, and I think that's kind of who Jalen is. He was a coach's son. His dad was his high school coach. So, Jalen Hurts is just he's just made to be a Saban bot, as so many people say. So
that's right.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he can perform this fall as well for the Eagles. Of course, he's got Devontae Smith there. Landon Dickerson maybe can be there as well with him if he's not hurt still. So a lot to look forward to on the NFL front.
Yeah, Tua's got Waddle, but I mean now it's so hard for me to keep up with Alabama guys. There's so many in the NFL. I mean it's amazing. I mean, didn't a stat come out a few weeks ago, might have been a month now, that Alabama, as many alumni as they have in the NFL, they could start their own NFL team.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think including, all the, of course, there's a lot of roster spots at the start of training camp, like 80 something, like 83, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
and I want to say across the 32 teams? Is that how many it is?
I think so. Yeah, 31, 32.
There was like 80 something players from Alabama on NFL rosters. So, of course, crazy. I think by the time the season starts, it'll be closer to about 50 or so. But still ridiculous amount. So, if you're watching right now, jump in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on the Alliance, just football in general, whatever you want to talk about. We're here to talk about it. So, we're not going to go too long tonight. We'll go for another 15 or 20 minutes if necessary. But we do appreciate all the support. The last few videos have done really well, so we greatly appreciate that. And not only are the YouTube videos doing well, but we're getting great numbers on the podcast platform as well. So We greatly appreciate that. So
Absolutely.
Jake, let's talk a little bit about fall camp.
Yeah.
They had the second scrimmage last weekend. Afterwards, I don't want to talk so much about the scrimmage because, we wasn't there to see it. We can get reports all we want, but, unless I see it with my own two eyes, I'm a little skeptical of reports. So,
Right.
But Nick Saban was asked again about Jaleel Billingsley.
Yeah.
And, he come out with this now a famous saying, this is not a democracy, that you don't get to do what you want to do. You have to do what is best for the team. So just what are your thoughts on the current situation with Jaleel Billingsley?
I hate it. I hope that he gets everything straightened out because he's going to be great, in that system, especially with Bill O'Brien coming in and
Right.
how he utilizes tight ends. But like I've said and you said before, you can also use him in the slot. So I mean, he's had not having him on the field, if it gets to that point for a few games that we don't see him at all, it's not going to be it's going to hurt offensively a little bit because you can spread him around and find a certain mismatch and get him open. Because I mean, for a guy his size, he's actually got a little bit of speed.
Yeah.
So I mean, you get him lined up on a linebacker ain't going to be able to keep up with him. So I hate it for him. I hope he gets his mind right and gets it all worked out. But tight end wise, we still got some greats. I mean, Latu's looking really good, and what was the freshman?
Robbie Oots.
Yeah, he's looked really good. So, I mean, we're going to be okay. But Billingsley, just get your head in the game. I mean, I just hate when these players think it's about them and not the team. So we just got to get that mentality back to team mentality instead of me mentality.
Right. Well, and my thoughts on it are it's so hard to talk on these situations because we don't know the whole story. We don't know what exactly it is that Billingsley has done that is, that the coaching staff and Nick Saban, did not approve of. So we don't know that part. But I can tell you one thing. If Nick Saban doesn't approve of it, then we probably wouldn't approve of it as a fan base either. Exactly. And I'm not here to dog on the guy. But this is a player who's entering his third year on campus. He was fisting to be one of the star players on the big-time program in college football. It shouldn't be that hard to do the things that you're supposed to do to ensure your spot on the team and in the starting lineup. Jaleel Billingsley is as talented as a tight end as there is in college football.
Absolutely.
If he had a season on par with what a lot of people were projecting, he could have ended up in the first round of the NFL draft. And if he doesn't get this situation handled, teams are not going to take him that high. He's potentially costing himself millions of dollars. Like I said, I don't know what he's done. He's been at practice this week. So maybe things are looking up. Maybe he's still working on the things that he needs to work on to get back, in the good graces of the coaching staff. So whatever that situation is, for his sake, for his own personal sake, regardless of how it affects the team, for his personal sake, I hope he gets it straightened out so he doesn't cost himself millions of dollars in the future. Now on the team side, because it's to me, you can look at it, in two different lines of sight. You look at it from Jaleel Billingsley's point of view, which what I just laid out. He needs to get his act together so he doesn't cost himself a lot of money.
Right.
But then on the team side, look, and this is not taking away anything from Jaleel Billingsley. We all know how talented he is. But Jake, Alabama's won championships without Jaleel Billingsley. And they're going to win more championships without Jaleel Billingsley. So he's not going to affect this team, whether or not they win a championship or not. That's not going to have any effect on it. What will have an effect on the team is how it affects the team psychologically. And from all indications, the rest of the team is doing the things they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So I don't think it's a big a deal as what some people may make it out to be. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I still got a good feeling that once September 4th rolls around, Jaleel Billingsley is going to be doing what he's supposed to be doing, and we're going to see him on the field against Miami. So that's just my gut feeling. I haven't been told that by anybody in the know. That's just my gut feeling. I feel like he's a good kid from a good background, and that he's eventually going to get things going in the right direction.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I mean, like you said, he's too good to be off the field and be having these struggles, because like you said, if he has the type of numbers that they're projecting him to have this year, will be a first rounder.
Right.
Sure.
Well, I mean, this is a contract year, and for lack of a better term, for Jaleel Billingsley.
Right.
What I mean is he's draft eligible next year.
Mm-hmm.
So in a contract year, what do guys do in the NFL?
Yeah. Right.
They try their best to perform at the maximum level, so they get themselves as big a contract as they can get.
Right.
I mean, this is the same boat for Jaleel Billingsley. So he needs to make sure he gets it together. I hope he does. I think he will. But if he don't, he don't. I mean, it's hurting him a lot more than it's hurting Alabama.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I don't mean that in a negative way toward Billingsley whatsoever.
No.
Because like we said, I don't know the situation. I don't know what he's done or what he's not been doing. So we'll just kind of leave that part at that. But I'm still excited about this team. Cameron Latou has been the talk of spring. Mm-hmm. He's carried that over in the fall camp. We've talked about that a lot. So I'm not too concerned at the tight end position.
Yeah, me either. And like you said,
it'd be great to have Billingsley.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But like you said, Robbie has stepped up and looked really good this camp. So it seems like we've gotten some depth at tight end for first time in a while. I mean, Major Tennyson and who was there last year? Lost his name.
Miller Forstall.
Yeah, Miller. I mean, they were good, but outside of that, it just seems like we never had any, really deep. We always had Irv and nobody else behind him, really. So, we got 3 guys that could play, tight end this year.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
hoping,
4.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Billingsley gets it straightened out, because a tight end duo of Jaleel Billingsley and Cameron Latou,
mismatch.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about 2 guys that are mismatched nightmares. I mean, Billingsley's 6'4", 230, 240 pounds, and Latou is 6'4", 6'5", about 250. Both can run, both can catch. So I hope they can get it straightened out. All right, got a first question here from John Beverly. John, appreciate you jumping in the chat. Why do you think Walter Nolan doesn't have Alabama in his top 3 after speaking so highly of Saban? Well, recruiting is such a weird thing. Nolan is a guy who's, and I don't want to talk about these kids because they're still kids. Walter Nolan is still a young guy, so I don't want to come off as a negative person towards this young guy. But I'll say this, he's enjoying the recruiting process. He's taking advantage of being in the spotlight. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure that's even really his top 3. That's just my opinion. But his recruiting process has been wild, and it's really hard to go much more in depth than that.
Mm-hmm.
Without being too negative towards a young man.
Yeah, and I was going to say, John, you reached out to us last night and asked if we were going to do any kind of fantasy stuff. I mean, I dabble in it. I'm not really good at fantasy, but I do want to make a point that I made last night on Best of the West, that right now, as it says, now this is betting. This ain't fantasy. This is the betting lines. Alabama's at 19.5.
Whoa.
I'm taking the over. I think Alabama's winning by 30.
Man, 30.
I may be a homer and I may be selling this team way too high, but I don't see how Miami's going to score against Alabama. I mean, on that defense is stout.
All right, so Jake is saying Bama by 30 against Miami. If you're listening and watching right now, jump in the comments. Tell us if Jake is crazy or not. I think I know the answer to that.
Yeah. Well,
okay. Let's just ask this way: is Jake crazy to think that Alabama beats Miami by 30 or more?
42-10. There you go.
42-10, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's one for you, and I know we don't get in the betting stuff, but this one kind of surprised
Hey,
me.
it's not because we're not interested; it's because we're just too dumb to understand it. By the
I
way,
know.
that's just
Yeah,
the truth.
exactly. Same way with fantasy, but Auburn is a 37-point favorite over Akron.
Man, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Akron returns. I'm not going to pretend like I know the roster up and down, but Auburn's had kind of a rough camp so far. You know, Harson's been out, Derek Mason's been out. I mean, and this is their first year there, so 37.5 seems a little high. I mean, I think they'll win by 30, but
I think it's just
maybe four touchdowns or so. But
yeah,
that's like I said. Yeah, like I said, I don't know much about Akron. Akron may be the worst team in college football.
They average, outside of the Bowling Green and their Kent State games last year where they scored like 40 or 50 points, they only average 14 points a game. So
good Lord, they're terrible.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I think 37 is just a little high. So
that's pretty high. That's pretty high.
I think it may be 30, like you said. So I may take the under on that one if I was a betting person.
All right, let's see. COVID-19 has already been there. Maybe Auburn will too. Yeah,
Akron will too.
Look, we don't get political on here, but the way Harsin has handled this whole COVID thing, it hasn't been a good look for him. So, and I'm just going to leave it at that. It has not been a good look for Brian Harsin. Right. But let's just do something here, Jake. We've been talking some over and unders. Let's look at some SEC teams. Missouri, over and under 7.5 wins.
Well, if I'm still going with my gut and saying Kentucky's going to finish second, then that means that they're going to have to win at least 8. So, I mean, 7 for Missouri, possibly with a loss to Kentucky, but I mean, in all honesty, they're still, and they could win 9, I think. So, but just because I got that bold prediction out right now that Kentucky's going to finish second in the East, I think I'm going to say 7, so under if it's 7.5.
All right, I'm fisting to. I'm trying to pull up some week 0 odds. Excuse me, real quick. So just kind of bear with. All right.
I was going to say. Oh
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say UCLA and Hawaii really intrigues me. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. I don't know what the line is on it, but
all right. We'll get to that in a second. The first game, Nebraska at Illinois.
Oh yeah.
All right. So right now, Nebraska is a 6.5 point favorite. The over and under is at 54.5.
True. That's the over under seems a little high. I don't think Nebraska can score that many. I know Illinois might, but together, I don't think they reach 54.
Nebraska's favored by 6.5 on the road at Illinois.
I think Nebraska's got too many question marks. I think Illinois beats them.
You think Illinois? Oh, you're going to take Illinois to win? Okay, okay. See, I'm almost in the opposite direction. I know Nebraska has a lot of problems right now. They're under some investigation, and Scott Frost has his back against the wall. But I think that's going to make them play with a little bit of an edge. I think they win the game by 10+, and they cover that 6.5. But I'm going to
54. And
I'm taking the under on the 54.5. If you're listening right now, we haven't forgot about Alabama. We're just plugging away on some week 0 odds. You jump in the comment section, let us know your thoughts. The second game of week 0 is UConn at Fresno State. Fresno State is favored by 27.5. The over and under is 62.5.
Take the under on the score, but I think Fresno. I think they reach that. UConn is trash.
I'm going to take. I see. I disagree with you again. I'm going to take the over on the points, and I'm going to say that UConn covers. That it's gonna they're gonna lose the game, no doubt, but it's going to be less than 27.5. I'm going to say that they lose by maybe 3 scores.
Okay.
All right. So keeping things going here now to the game that we're most looking forward to, Hawaii at UCLA. Right now, UCLA is a 17.5 point favorite.
Wow.
The over and under is set at 68.5.
Hawaii's got a high-powered offense. I'm taking the over on that score. I think it's going to be in the maybe 70s or 80s. But 17.5 over the line on that right now.
Yeah,
you said 17. I think it's going to be closer than that. So I'm going to take.
I agree with you. Yeah. I think Hawaii covers the spread. Yeah. And I think the over and under is actually it's a push on that to me. It's really close.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say I'm going to say that it's actually a really close game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that UCLA wins 41 to around 30. So that puts the total of at 70 or 71. So
yeah,
I'm taking the over on that 68.5.
Yeah, that's just an intriguing matchup to me because, it seems like this year, this is the year UCLA makes the next step. But Hawaii, I know they've always seems like they finish like 4-8, 5-7, 6-6, something like that. But they play hard, and they put up big time numbers. So. I know it's going to be a high scoring game, but I think, I do think overall UCLA wins, but I think Hawaii's going to give them fits.
All right. Hey, last one. Golly, this looks like this would be. I'd rather watch high school game than this game. Southern Utah at San Jose State.
Okay.
All right. San Jose State is a 21.5 point favorite, and the over and under is 55.5. I'm taking San Jose State, and I'm taking the over on the 55.5.
Yeah.
San Jose State is going to get 55 by themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I can't comment too much. I don't know what either team's got, but I remember San Jose State. I think just a few short years ago, they made a little push in the top 25. So
San Jose State, I think last year had a really good team, if I'm not mistaken.
So. Yeah. So I think San Jose State is by far going to kill Southwest.
Utah. All right, people. If you're just joining the show, we kind of got off subject a little bit here. We started talking about some over and unders and some spreads.
We do that
for the week 0 matchups. But if you got any questions or comments, jump in the chat right now, and we'll be glad to answer those. Jake, just a couple more things before we head out tonight. Mm-hmm. We've been going for a little over 30 minutes. Jase Mcclellan, he's a guy that you've loved, since last year. You have a rare affection for freshman running backs. 2 years ago, it was Trey Sanders, and last year it was Jase Mcclellan. You must have a soft spot for them freshman backs. Just talk a little bit about, what it is about Jase Mcclellan that you like so much. I mean, obviously, besides the dude's talented, I know, but just kind of what kind of stands out to you?
I mean, he's just got that it factor to me. I mean, he gets that ball and he's nose to the ground. He's gone. What is the 80-yard touchdown run or 78-yard touchdown run he had against Arkansas? I mean, he went through that line and was gone. I mean, and I just love to see that. I just have a soft spot, I guess, for freshmen in general because, these are 18-year-old kids. And, I mean, the pressure's on them because, they're all over the country. But you're playing at Alabama, and you're starting as a freshman. So, I mean, you got eyes on you galore from everybody because, they always said Saban don't like starting freshmen. Well,
that's obviously a myth. That's a myth. That is a myth. Okay, I want to do one quick little thing before we head out tonight, and this has kind of been more of a college football talk because we're getting so close to season that I just want to talk about all of college football. And like I said, if you're watching right now, jump in the chat. let us know your thoughts and opinions. I want to talk about. We're going to go over this SEC schedule for Week 1, and I want you to tell me the team that is most likely to be upset. And you can't include Georgia because that would be an obvious choice, even though I think Georgia wins. But excuse me.
Get the burpees over there.
Yeah, it's and I got a scratch in my throat as well. We're going to talk a little. Okay, I've got the schedule brought up, so let's look at some of these matchups, and I want you to tell me what SEC team you think has the greatest likelihood to be upset Week 1. Thursday night, September 2nd, Tennessee hosts Bowling Green.
I don't know what Bowling Green's got, but I mean, even though Tennessee is a dumpster fire right now, they should beat Bowling Green.
I'm just scrolling through these. I don't really see one. To me, the best opportunity would be UCLA maybe upsetting LSU, but I just can't see that happening.
I mean, I don't know what Louisville's got, but that might be another one over Ole Miss. But Ole Miss has got a stout offense, but that defense is lacking a little bit. So
yeah, I don't see any that really jump off screen that makes me scream, upset alert. Pretty easy schedule for most of the SEC. I mean, the best games are Georgia, Clemson, and Alabama, Miami. So, and I think both SEC teams win, and I think both of those teams actually cover as well. So, I think Clemson just has too many question marks up front on the offensive line, and Georgia's defensive line is so stout. I just think Georgia is going to be too strong for them, and it's going to depend a little bit on how healthy Georgia is. They've got some injuries right now, but we'll just kind of see how that looks. Once the game gets here, that Saturday.
Absolutely, but Alabama, I think, will roll. Georgia may have a fit in the first half, but second half, I think they get it figured out. In all honesty, if we still got another week, so we can do like an SEC review and a preview of the game next week, an SEC review next week. But overall, I think it's going to be Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship games this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably going to be the consensus.
Yeah.
They're the two best teams, the two most talented teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, I agree with you. Looking at week 2, excuse me, the game I'm looking forward to most, Texas and Arkansas.
I know it. Yeah.
Dude, that's going to be a lot. Hey, and Pitt plays Tennessee.
Ooh, that might be an upset.
I wonder who's going to be favored in that game.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. May have to get on betonline.ag to see, in a couple of weeks. But, Pitt, just a few short years ago, they was in the ACC championship games against Clemson. So, I mean, they've got talent. How do you see that Arkansas game going? The Arkansas Texas game.
I think right now, if I had to pick, I'd pick Arkansas.
Yeah. We did a SEC West preview last night on Best of the West, and I see Arkansas winning 7 games this year. If they get past Texas, then they're pretty much on track to win 7 games. If they can maybe pull an upset from either like Ole Miss or A&M or something, they might beat LSU. So it seems like the Arkansas LSU game is always weird, kind of like when we go to Jordan Hare.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping that with Gus gone, some of that voodoo is gone as well.
Yeah, me too.
I was trying to see if maybe somebody had the Pitt Tennessee game, already kind of the spread set for all that, but I'm not seeing it yet. But
might have to wait next week.
Yeah, probably have to wait another week or so for that. But Jake, if you don't have anything else to add, like we said, we were kind of all over the place in this show, but we did want to get an episode out this week, and we'll be back again next week to obviously preview the Alabama-Miami game. We're just 10 days away now. We appreciate John, you jumping in the chat tonight. Last call for anybody want to jump in the chat before we head out for the night. Once again, this episode is brought to you by betonline.ag. Sign up today, receive that 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just excited about the season, man. It's just right around the corner.
Man, yeah.
So sounds like a week from tomorrow night, Tennessee versus Bowling Green.
That's right. So we're going to have, football with pretty much 7 days. So
pretty much 7 days away, yeah.
So, man, I'm excited. Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. Well, if you ain't got anything else to add, we're going to head out now. Jake, I appreciate you jumping on with me, buddy. Always fun to talk some football with you. Always fun to ramble with you about any kind of nonsense.
Anything.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to head out now. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Until next time, roll tide.
Roll tide.